Good morning, good morning, good morning. New York here. They say a man is the sum of all his life experiences. I agree with that, as it's everything I've been through in my life, everything I witnessed that made me who I was and made me who I am today. With that being said, there's a lot of stories I want to tell you guys, but the only way you're really going to understand is to know who I am. And the only way to know who I am is for me to tell stories that shaped me. Some of them are mine, some of them are others. As you guys know, I told you the story about Chris. Chris' wife cheated on him. To make a long story short, it ended with him going there to try to kill his ex-wife and her new boyfriend. It didn't work out that way. His ex-wife was there with her mother. He tried to kill them both. He killed one of them. But Chris made his own choices. He knew what the outcome was going to be. He knew what he was doing. Maybe he got pushed off the edge, but he knew what he was doing. What happens when you don't know? What happens when life throws such a curveball at you that it destroys everything and you don't even know what happened? What happens when it's not your choice? When one mistake turns into mistake after mistake after mistake. That's a story I want to tell you guys today. It's another one that helped shape me. It's another reason I have no trust for anybody. And it's another one that will help me bring you guys one step closer to understanding who I am when I get into other stories. When I talk about today's story, when I get to the end, many people who live in New York are going to know the story. It was all over the news. The ending part was. It brought up a lot of ethical questions as well as regular questions too. Those questions still stand today. I would love to know your opinion on it. I have my opinions on it. But even with that being said, I'm going to change the names because these people are still around. I wasn't even going to tell the story, but the more I think about it, it's public knowledge. But the least I can do is change the name to be respectful. I can talk about it because they talked about it on the news. Everybody knows about it. So we're going to call the guy Mark and his girlfriend Christine today. That's not their names. Some of you are going to say, I know their names. Good for you. Please leave it out of the comments. And we're going to talk about what it did to me, how it shaped my life, and how it leads into other stories. With that being said, happy Monday. New York is getting cold, colder by the day, which is bringing on congestion and colds all around the board. I actually just said it was Monday. It's Tuesday. That goes to show you. So happy Tuesday. And I hope you guys are having a good day. And if you got a chance, take a listen, because this is going to be the story of Mark. Let's get into it. Me and Mark went to high school together. Mark was the type of guy that would do anything for you. He was friends with the goths. He was friends with the jocks. He was friends with the hippies. He was friends with everybody. He didn't have a bad bone in his body. He drank a little bit, but he didn't do drugs. He was, even in high school, he was about making money. He was just an all-around good guy. He was raised well. He was going to go to college when we graduated. Obviously, I wasn't going. But in school, we were good friends. When college came around, everybody kind of breaks up a little bit. He went away and he did his thing. And we barely talked. That happens a lot of times. So it was his first year of college, getting right towards the end. What I did not know until afterwards is, and this is the first bad thing, that if this didn't happen, I believe his life would have turned out totally different. So watch what you do, guys. So he met somebody up there, an older man who lived in the town, who sold ecstasy and coke. And he, being somebody who liked to make money, started selling it too. It was just an easy setup. This guy would spot him whatever he wants. He'd get rid of it. He was making a ton of money from what I was told. He was getting it cheap. Nobody knew his connect. And he was doing it. He was selling it all over in school. Sometimes that goes well for a little bit and then it ends horribly. Sometimes it just ends horribly fast. It ended horribly fast for him. He said he wasn't even doing it for a month yet. And he was already moving keys and thousands of hits of ecstasy. They were going to all different colleges. So one of these kids got caught in another college and set him up. Him not being in the game for long and not knowing how to work the game and who you trust and what you say, goes and sells somebody he never met before almost 2 kilos of coke and 1,000 hits of ecstasy. He's sitting in the guy's car. He gives it to him. Whoop, 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 whoop. Cops pull up everywhere, pull him out of the car. Mark's arrested. That's the end of Mark's college. That's pretty much the end of everything he thought was going to happen. His parents get him out. I'm pretty sure the bail was like 150 to 200 grand. They had some money, but still he lost college. He's out. He's waiting trial. He did not ask for a speedy trial. He's trying to stay out as long as he possibly can. There's talk that there's a technicality and he can get off. He's telling everybody he's not going to go away. He's going to get off on a technicality. There was something wrong with the investigation, something with his rights, whatever it was. He comes home. He starts working. You know, he's not the same guy anymore. He's kind of, you know, you can see he's upset. Something hurt, bothers him. But he's all right. He's doing good. He meets a girl. Christine, we'll call her. Christine is great for him. You know, gets his mind off everything. They're like two peas in a pod. We actually see him again. He starts coming around with her. We all like Christine. It seems like his life is getting back to normal. Not going the way he went, but it's going a decent way. He says this wasn't on purpose, and I would like to hope it wasn't, because you don't have kids when you don't know if you're going to go to prison or not. He winds up getting Christine pregnant. She's pregnant with twins, and he's ecstatic. Again, he's saying he's not going to prison. He's getting off on a technicality. This goes on for a while, this whole court and trial, because he actually has the kids. They're like 6 or 7 months old when this finally happens. So he goes in. Everybody thinks he's going to get probation or totally off on it. That's not the way it goes. Sometimes you think one thing in life and something else happens. Sometimes you lose the flip of a coin. Maybe the judge was in a bad mood. Maybe the judge had a fight with his kids or a fight with his wife. Maybe somebody on the jury just didn't like the way he looked. There's a million reasons why this could have happened, but he wasn't expecting it. His first time in trouble. This is why I tell you, everything you do in life has a consequence. He gets 10 years with 10 on the back, meaning he has to do about 8. And if he ever gets in trouble for the next 10 years following, he has to go away for 10 more years. 10 more years. I can't even imagine his face in the courtroom. He gets to come home for a little bit before he has to turn himself in. We were supposed to go to dinner that night. We were all thinking we were celebrating him getting off. Instead, we're basically saying goodbye to him. He looks like a ghost. By this point, he had a good job. He had a nice apartment. He was taking care of his girl and his kids, thinking everything was going to keep going, and it wasn't. Now he's going to prison. His girl right away is pissed, upset. You promised you weren't going. You promised. She's being mean to him, but she's also just hurt. She's being nasty, but it's coming out of, you know, the place of pain, I guess you would say. But still, it was the last thing he needed. With that, he gets shipped away to prison. Mark was a small dude. When he got to prison, it's not always like you hear murder, kill, death. He managed to slide under the line. He had some friends. He was working a lot in prison. He was going to school for electrical. He was already a decent electrician. And me and him wrote back and forth a lot. I know what it's like to want to talk to somebody on the outside and just feel that, feel that attachment still to the outside. He was devastated when he went in, but he started learning to live with it. Until the first of 2 devastating things happened. And it's the last thing you ever want to happen when you're away. He gets called down to the deacon's office. His father was driving to work. He's about, 55 to 60, a couple years shy of retirement. And he had a heart attack, and he died. This blew Mark away. He felt like he failed his father. He felt like his father never seen him succeed. His father always loved him. He knew he made a mistake, but this is the stuff that goes through your head while you're away and somebody dies. Everybody, you start blaming yourself. We don't talk for a while. We do start talking again. He just can't believe he's away. He can't believe he did this. It's a hard sentence now to do with his dad dying. But like I said, that was the first of 2 devastations. It would be his 7th year, I think, because he got out in the 8th, and it was right before that. Gets called to the deacon's office again. Now, his mom had cancer, and he knew this. We knew it might have been a chance of him losing his mom when he was away, but never his father. And I think once he did lose his dad, in his head, he couldn't even comprehend maybe losing his mother too. But that's what happened. And that's what happens to a lot of people, and why you shouldn't go to prison. He loses his mom too. We start talking. He's a mess. Now, with his parents dying, he was the only son. He inherited the house and some money. I don't know how much money. I would say probably at least $100,000, because he got cars. He bought a bunch of stuff when he got out. I don't know if it was in a lawyer, but with a lawyer or with a family member, they put him in a trust, and he was getting out soon anyway. He just wanted to get out, start a life with his wife, and finally put this behind him. And his time's running out. He talks to me. He says, listen, could you talk to your buddy? Remember I told you in another story, I have a buddy that flips buildings, houses. He buys businesses. He does everything, this guy. And maybe get me a job. I have my electrical license now. And see what you can do. So I talk to my buddy. He tells me he's actually opening up a low voltage division, which is like cameras, networking, data, cable. And he needs somebody to run it. Somebody just to go to the jobs and make sure these guys are working. I vouch for Mark. Mark gets out of jail, comes back home, moves into his parents' house, brings his girl to his parents' house. They're getting along great. He has a new job. They go and get married. I think it was a justice of the peace. And everything's going good for him. So I thought. We haven't been talking as much. I figured, all right, he's trying to start a new life. He needs to get everything under control, get all his eggs in a basket. We'll talk again. Then I start hearing stories of people who see him with his wife, and they say that she's so different now. She's so nasty to him. I went to say hi to him. She was pulling him by his shoulder, cursing, screaming at him. I thought she was cool. I don't know what I believe and what I don't. Some guys just don't like other guys' wives. So one night we decided we're going to go to dinner. I go to dinner with them, and it was exactly like I was told. She was screaming at him, belittling him, telling him to shut up, anything he said, telling him, oh, nobody wants to hear what you're saying. He was trying to pretend like this was not happening. We were all pretending like we didn't hear it, but it's embarrassing for him, and we knew. I just couldn't figure out why. You know, I knew she harbored resentment for him getting in trouble, but you knew what you were getting into. And now you have a house. He's doing the right thing. He came out. He's taking care of the kids. He's taking care of you. Everything you have is because of him. She barely even worked. I think she was like a telemarketer a couple hours a week. But half the time she wasn't even working. He was doing the right thing, but she ran his life. He looked miserable. He expected to come out and start a happy life. Now this guy lost his parents while he was away, and he's living the life that nobody wants to live. They have a wedding to go to. A bunch of my friends were invited. I was not invited. That's another story. So they go there. From what I was told, Mark was drinking, but not a lot. He's a grown man. He's allowed to drink. He leaves with his wife. There, a couple miles from the house. Whoop, whoop. He gets pulled over. Cop gets him out of the car, gives him a sobriety test. He passes the sobriety test. Cop tells him, I smell booze in the car still. Can I search your car? He said, go ahead, search it. Cops start searching the car. They find 2 ounces of cocaine under the back seat. My first thought was, old habits die hard, huh? You know, maybe he wasn't making the money he needed. Even with the money he made from his parents passing, that goes quick in New York. You got to pay taxes, bills. You have 2 kids. I started doing the math saying, it's hard. Maybe he felt like he had no choice, you know? Maybe he found another connect. I don't know. But in my head, I was also saying, you fucking idiot. I know you have 10 years on the back. How the fuck could you do this to your family? I was mad at him. I was almost mad at him to the point I didn't want to talk to him anymore, because the last time it was a mistake. This time is not a mistake. We don't really talk at all about it. We talk a couple more times, but not really about anything. You can see he's being cold shoulder. I'm being cold shoulder. I know he's going to jail for 10 years. Prison. I keep on saying jail. Prison for 10 years. He gives his wife the house. You know, I guess he gives her whatever money they have. He pleads guilty right away, because the way it works is, if he doesn't plead guilty, they can also arrest her, because if he's not pleading guilty, it's one of your two, so it has to be one of you two. He pleads guilty. He's going away for 10 years. He's miserable. This guy, who was a really good guy and do anything for anybody, first made one mistake, you know, did 8 years. Now he's going for another 10. 18 years of his life gone. You know, he goes away. About 6-7 months after he goes away, I start getting letters again, which I figured were going to happen, because once again, you want a connection to the outside world. But what I thought he was going to say is not what he said. He starts telling me, I think she might be cheating on me. I said, what are you talking about? I know this goes through all guys' head when you're arrested, but she's not that type. No, she won't even pick up the phone. I try to call my kids, get them on the phone. I can't talk to them. She just won't answer at all. This gets worse and worse and worse till she's not answering at all. He's trying to get lawyers involved. She's living in his house. They're married now, so it's her house too. Like I said, she had whatever money was left over, and she's not answering. He asks me to go by. I did once. I'm not trying to feed into that. I saw another car there. I didn't even tell him. Somehow it gets to him that she's with another guy now, and he's living there in the house. Now, like a caged animal, I felt. Mark starts telling me, the coke wasn't even mine. I don't know whose it was. Whoa, buddy. What do you mean? You know, stop bullshitting. I get you're going through a lot, but don't bullshit me. You know, it's what you did the first time. It's what you did the second time. You pled guilty. He's telling me, no, I pled guilty so she wouldn't be arrested. A couple weeks prior, we were at another party, and our buddy Chris was in his car. And Chris does sell coke. I think it was Chris's. It's the only reasonable explanation. If not his, somebody set me to fuck up. I'm not really believing any of it. I think he's just using that as, I'm not a bad guy. You know, everything I did was right. And that's the way he's handling it, is to lie to himself. And this goes on to the point that it's actually getting annoying, and I didn't even answer a couple letters. So we don't talk for about 3 months. Over the course of these 3 months, I hear from my buddy that there's been cops at his house. And my friend lived right down the street. Said something, she's living there with a boyfriend now. They had a bunch of domestics, cops are there. You know, the lawn's getting overgrown. Something's not right. Mark reaches out to me. Somebody told him the same, and we start talking again. I tell him I don't know what's going on, but somebody told me this guy's a drug dealer too. And with that being said, Mark's working on trying to get lawyers, trying to get rights to see his kids, because she won't pick up the phone, talk to his kids, something. He's just every angle he can go trying to do something. And nothing's working for him. So he's at about 7 years. He had about 3 years left. And Christine's boyfriend, the same guy she's been with that I told you, the cops are at the house all the time, he gets arrested. It was a pretty big drug bust. They didn't announce how much it was. I know it was coke, but it was big enough to put him in jail for a long time. Prison, I keep saying jail. Prison for a long time. With that being said, he decides he doesn't want to go for that long, and he's going to tell a story. He's going to be a rat. And this is the story he told the police. Or I should say, it's about the story he told the police, because he told it to a lot of people. So it turns out, the reason she was hating on him and being hurtful and harmful and everything was different after the first time he got out was because she had another boyfriend. She hid this great. She was going to tell him, and then I guess he got the house and the money, and she decided she's going to stay with him too. but it wasn't working. She couldn't stand him, but she didn't want to lose the house and the money, I'm assuming. So she talked to her boyfriend eventually, and they came up with a plan. Get rid of him. Have the boyfriend plant the coke in the car. Then he'll get put away. She knew he had 10 years on the back, and he'll get the house. She'll get the house. She'll get the car. She'll get the money. She can live there with a boyfriend. So that's what they did. The boyfriend put the coke in the car. Little did she know she can get arrested for it too, but she didn't because he wanted to make sure she couldn't get in trouble, so he pled guilty to it, knowing he didn't do it. The cops hear this story, they go and they get the evidence back out, the bag of coke, whatever. There's a fingerprint on it that they were never able to match to anybody, and Mark's fingerprints were never on it at all. He probably could have fought the whole charge if he wanted to, but he didn't know every detail, and he was trying to save his wife. The fingerprint belongs to the boyfriend. So, the story's true. The boyfriend, I'm sure, got off on some time for being a rat, but thank God he did, because it came out. Not like he saved Mark a lot of time, because Mark was getting out soon anyway, but at least the truth was out. They let Mark out early. She now has to go to trial herself. Now, this is the part that's on the news. This is the part, if you live in New York, or I'm guessing even the surrounding states, you probably heard this story because it brought up all kinds of ethical questions. It brought up all kinds of questions in general. It brought up a lot of stuff between husband and wife, and it was just crazy. They made it a circus. But now you know the beginning part of it because they should have told that too, and they never did. So he's out. He still has to deal with her. She's going to trial. Now you have to deal with this woman who hid you from your kids, didn't pick up the phone. You found out is the reason you went to jail for almost a decade again. You didn't get to see your kids grow up. You didn't get to see the first steps, their first words, none of that. You didn't get to hear about it because she didn't answer the phone. She's living in your parents' house with her fucking drug dealer boyfriend. They're fucking having domestic disputes that the kids have to deal with. And she's going to court. Now, like I said, she never really committed a crime in her life. She had domestics, but that's not a crime. That's just domestic shit. And because of this, and maybe because the judge felt bad for women, maybe the judge, who knows, maybe the judge just had a really bad experience himself. You never know. You never know. It's always on the judge and the jury. You never know what they're thinking. But they give her 10 years probation. She doesn't do a day in jail from this. What do you guys think about that? I think it's horrible. I think she should have did 8 years in prison, same that he did, and then done a whole boatload of time for the cocaine charges and the conspiracy and everything else. And without a doubt, she should have. And any other judge or jury, they would have. But somehow she got off on it. So now Mark has to deal with seeing this woman still at his house and dealing with her with the kids. I mean, he got rights to the kids. He got a lawyer, the whole nine. But he has to deal with it on a daily basis. This woman who put you away and ruined your fucking life, you know, because of one bad choice you made and another bad choice of trusting this woman, you did a, quarter of your life in prison. I don't even know how he dealt, but he did. He did deal. He since got remarried, had another kid. He has a nice house a little bit further out east. We don't talk as much anymore. Here and there we'll talk when he has a good life. But something was stolen from him that he can never get back. Years. This is why I tell everybody, watch out who you trust. Watch out what you do. Make sure the crime is worth it. The juice is worth the squeeze. The juice is usually not worth the squeeze. Time is one thing you can't get back. When people go to prison and you're given a sentence, yeah, when you're doing that sentence, you have friends, maybe you have a job, maybe you're going to school, but you're not with your family, you're not in the real world. It's basically them deleting part of your life. Since you committed the crime, we're going to delete part of your life. Years you can never get back. I don't even know how that feels. From the outside, it was crazy. Just to have done all that time as a decent person. Yeah, the first time was his mistake, but it was still just a mistake. He was a young kid trying to make money. He never should have got that amount of time. But the second time, you know how that had to feel, knowing in his head that it wasn't his? I didn't believe him, knowing nobody believed him, knowing there was nothing he can do about it. and he still took it on the shoulder to make sure she didn't get put away. Then he finds out that she's the one who put it there. That was never a thought in any of our minds. Never was it even an idea that maybe it was her. That was unfathomable. Maybe somebody set him up. Maybe it was this other guy's who he left it in there and he's never going to say it. But never would you think that his own wife put it there. You know, I say that I have to tell these stories to show you who I am and why I am the way I am today. And one of the biggest things with me is trust and cheating. I don't believe in cheating at all. If you want to leave somebody and be with somebody else, leave them, be with somebody else. You have every right. But cheating could kill a man. It could literally shatter a man into pieces, and he's just a part of his former self. That's my case. Between him and Chris, and those are the only two crazy stories in my own life, I can't trust anybody. I do have a girlfriend now. I love her dearly. But I didn't want one. After I was cheating on, I said I would never be with anybody ever again. I'd rather be left alone, because if I ever get hurt like that again, I'm never going to come back from it. I know that I've left pieces of my heart here and there. My heart is shattered between the death of my mom and all the things that happened before that I would just rather be alone. But my girlfriend was a friend of a friend. She started coming around, and it wore me down little by little by little. But to this day, my trust issues could be the reason it never goes anywhere. The only fight we ever have is over my trust issues. You know? She should be trusted. She never gave me a reason not to. But I can't, because just like my wife never gave me a reason not to, and then she did, and she killed me. If I start to trust her, that means I'm giving her the power to demolish me. And I'm not coming back from it next time. So every time we get so close, I push her away. It's not her fault. It's nothing she did. But she did sign up for it, because I always told her from the beginning, I don't want anything. And yet it became something. I told her I'll never trust anybody. And I still won't. I allowed it to become something. When we get too close, yes, I push her away. But I'm working on it. Still a work in progress. Maybe one day I will trust her. And hopefully it goes well for me. But what's to say she won't cheat on me too, or something bad won't happen? You never know, because even those who love you dearly loved you dearly at one point. Even those who cheat on you once loved you. Sometimes they still love you, and they find an excuse on why they cheated on you. Well, yeah, that was Mark's story. I would love to know what you guys think as far as him, as far as what should have happened to her, because she definitely should still be in jail, prison, my mind. She should be having a girlfriend somewhere, but being put away. She should be getting beat up, but that never happened. And they still see each other. I don't know if she has a boyfriend. I don't know. I hope nobody ever went out with that sludge bucket ever again. I thank God that he has the woman he has, because it seems like this time things worked out well for him. He has a business. He has an electrical business with a low voltage company. She helped get him going on that. Because the truth is, the strongest men in this world are being held up by the best women. The guys I know who are doing the best in life have a strong woman in their life. But is it like rolling the dice? If you get that, you're going to be golden. But sometimes you think you got that, and what you get is somebody who's going to cheat and destroy you. It really is like rolling the dice when you get married, because you never know. People used to say I had the best girl ever. Your girlfriend is so nice. She's all about you. You found a winner. You found a winner. It's all these ideas in my head, along with my love for her, that got me married. She cheated on me, though, right? Don't do it, people. Don't ruin somebody's life. If you ever love them, break up with them. Do it the right way. You have a right to do whatever you want, but not hurt somebody. Not like that. It's going to hurt enough when you tell them you need to break up with them, you want to see somebody else. But cheating on somebody just takes everything from them. This was a whole nother ball game. Way more than just cheating. She decided that she wanted everything he had. She wanted him gone, and she wanted to be back with her boyfriend. And that's what she did. This is her baby's father. She did it to her baby's father. No, that's like doing it to the babies. She took their father away. I would love to know what they think of her. They're getting to the age where they can make a decision when they know the story. I wonder if they know the entire story and all the details. Because as much as if I was him, I would tell them, I know him, and I know he will do anything for them. And I have a feeling he might not have told them everything because he doesn't want to hurt them. He'd rather see them love their mother and think she's this amazing woman. I hope he told them the truth, or they find out the truth one day. No, the reason why I changed the names, but his kids know who I am. If they see this, it's going to be what it's going to be. But as I get into more stories, you're going to realize why this means so much to me. To me, the two worst things you can be in this world are a cheater or a deadbeat parent. Deadbeat parents being the worst. Why have a kid if you're going to be a deadbeat and abusive? The idea of having a kid is to make the next generation better. Give them everything you never had. Treat them well. Love them. This is a part of you. Yet I know so many parents and seen so many stories that their kids are abused. They're left alone. Don't be a deadbeat parent. The dad's not even in the picture. He ran away. He doesn't pay child support. You're a waste of life at that point. I pray every day that I wish I had a kid, and yet you have a kid and you don't care. They talk about kicking rocks in my face. I can't deal with it, and that's why. I'm going to try to tell more of my own stories. I do have another one or two of other people's stories that shaped who I am too, and we'll get into them eventually. But yeah, that was Mark's story. For those of you who heard it on the news, now you know the beginning of it and how it all went down. Because even the news kind of made him look like a bad guy too. They made the whole bunch look like a bad guy. Like a bunch of white trash is what they made it look like. And he wasn't. They started bringing up, oh, he was a coke dealer and this and that. He made a mistake. All right, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of this Tuesday. I'm sure it's getting cold by you guys too. But it's still nice out. I'm sure the freezing cold will be here soon. And with all that being said, peace from New York. If you have kids, go home today and hug them and love them dearly. If you're cheating on the one you love, stop. Either totally stop and just don't do it because you love them, or break up with them and go with the other person. Don't destroy them. And have a great day. All right? Peace out. New York here. Till next time.